Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
You know, he would step across the line. Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper. Yo, stomp this motherfucker out right here. The fuck is wrong with him?
Happy Monday, one and all. Welcome to TGL. My name is Grindhead Jim, and people who fucked around, they're about to find out today. That's all I got to say about that. I hope you enjoyed the new intro. I hope the sound came through okay. I was having some problems on my end, but hey, there you go. So, I think you know where the show's going. Yes, there's going to be a panel. Everyone's going to get to have their say. But I want to get right out of the way before I even acknowledge chat. I've only got 3 pre-order retype things to show you. And then we're going to get into a whole ass show. Okay? Okay. So, I actually only have 2 things. I miscounted. I thought I had 3. I only have 2. So, first, if you missed it, and apparently my OBS is missing it, that's fine. We'll fix that. There we go. Bam. Sorry about that. I had to reorder OBS. So, they're doing a Venom Let There Be Carnage version of Carnage for Marvel Legends. If you already have a comic book Carnage, you may not want this, but it comes with all these accessories that are really, really cool. It's a bit better than any of the Marvel Legends Carnages I've seen. I'm getting one because I have a movie-accurate Venom as well as a comic-accurate Venom, and I have like a movie collection and a comic. But for comic people, you might want to get this and then swap out the head from a comic accurate one if you don't like the way this design is. But if you don't have a Carnage at all, this is a pretty nice Carnage. Do not pass it up if you can help it. The only other pre-order that I have for you is $110 Winnie the Pooh piggy bank made out of vinyl. Meaning you'll need a piggy bank to save up for this piggy bank. It's stupid. I don't like it. And it's really all I could find that I wanted to talk about in terms of toys today anyway. So that works out. We don't waste any time. Let me go ahead and check in with everybody. I see Ted Milich. I see Bjorn Jorgensen and TJC and Manic Plastic Toy Shop and Boba Hicks and Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures and Jason Garcia and TJC. Wilhelm, Ian. I think that's everybody. I didn't miss anybody, did I? Look up. Largo's Lair, I said, right? Yeah, Largo's Lair, I'm sure I said that. If I didn't, there I said it. Yeah, okay. Johnny says that the King Bandai figure is out. I have not gotten one yet. I keep meaning to. I just haven't. My wife says, hello. Hello back to y'all. Hello. And Largo would rather have a Pooh Bear honey pot. I bet you would. I bet you would. But, you know, Master Son in the house. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Very, very glad. GC says, I had audio OBS tonight, so I had to use StreamYard instead to stream. Okay. Well, no one's saying anything went wrong with my audio, so it's okay. I know what did it. I just have to... I probably have to restart the computers, is honestly what I gotta do. Logic Blaster's in the house too. I am doing well. It's going well. So, Tim Milch is here to chew some bubblegum and kick some butt. It's all out of bubblegum. Bill Wifton says he's going to keep his mouth shut and not piss people off. I mean, I don't care who pisses who off at this point. I'm going to bring up some things. I'm going to talk about some things. I'm going to talk about my perspective. Then we're going to have a little round table there, see what's up. So, the majority of you know the impetus behind this, okay? There's this YouTuber out there that stole social media post scoops from other people that we know. Then, when they were called out on it, they copyright striked the original poster, the person they stole from, and continued to strike them into oblivion until their account was gone. When other friends of ours began to call out the same behavior, they were stricken down, both on Instagram. And there's been a rather long and protracted, one could almost say prolapsed, discussion about this happening. I am, of course, talking about the Diaper Island, Pampers Peninsula, if you will, debacle. Okay. Now, we've had folks like Junkman around. We've had, Scott Knightlick, Dicklick, as I like to call him. But, it's these things have happened before, all right? And people have not had to go as far as they've had to go to kind of shut that negative out of their life, which is good. But this is getting to a place where it just is just too much. And I'm sorry that my mic is low. Thank you for telling me. I actually had VDO Ninja settings fixed, so that doesn't happen. I think that happened when I was in StreamYard yesterday, even though I had it turned off to automatically adjust my volume, which sucks ass. So I apologize for those of you that had a hard time hearing me, or for those whose ears I am blowing out. And yes, Logic Blaster, it is. And I'm with Ted here. I stand with Ryan, 3POA, and it's Chad. So yeah, we're all talking about Diaper Island. So, we've had Scott Knightlick, we've had Junkman, and a few others stir up some trouble in the last several years in what is loosely referred to as the toy community on YouTube. And it's been an annoyance. It's been something to deal with, but no one has actually gone after the content and livelihood of these people before. And it really bugs me that the people are doing this kind of crap to begin with. I can't imagine a world where you're so petty and so single-minded and so delusional that you think that's the right move. And the whole thing just makes me sick, right? As far as like people being able to do this crap. And exactly, Logic Blaster says copyright claims and strikes, unfounded ones anyway, are super lame and needs to stop. I agree. So on the other hand, you guys tend to know me as someone who, although I will privately speak my mind about a lot of different things, I tend to keep it away from this. I don't think of the entire toy collecting YouTube content creator space as a community. I really don't. I look at it as there are communities that exist under that umbrella, but we're not all linked together. And that is what it is. It's tribalism. That was almost the name of today's show, is tribalism. But this guy has pissed off multiple tribes. And it's like, well, I don't want to not say publicly what's on my mind with this stuff. So, one, I think YouTube drama is absolute and utter horse shit. We talk about bits of plastic on our shelves, on our walls, in our hearts, and our minds that represent something from our childhood or adolescence that we identify with. And that counts for all my collections, because all my collections are made of plastic, right? And people should be allowed to say what they want to say about their lumps of plastic that they like without fear of reprisal from other people, to the level of, I want to take your channel down or your social media channel down or whatever. People should let each other be. And when they find like-minded folks, they can band together and form little communities like the one we happen to have here. People should never have to deal with this crap, even on the most superficial of levels, right? There should be a base respect that if you take a picture that someone else posted, an exclusive scoop, and even if you edit it, you need to credit that. And that's not that hard to do. It's not. I've borrowed things in the past, and for anyone I haven't credited, I apologize. I don't mean not to. I get the majority of my images for all of my news segments from either Toys News International, Twitter itself, which is public, or like Big Bad or something like that. So in most cases, I'm clearly giving credit visually where it's coming from, right? But there's this whole thing of just people yip-yapping at each other. The G.I. Joe Classified Action Force crap, Star Wars community, swallowing itself, Superpowers collection community, smelling their own farts, thinking they can charge triple the value of something just because it's an internal group thing or whatever. Everyone's got their own little brand of stench, in my opinion, and that's why I look forward to speaking with you folks here, because you're a great big melting pot of different types of toy collectors. And I don't know that I necessarily intended to have a melting pot in that sense, but I'm really glad that it came out that way. I really appreciate that about you guys. And I'm really with World Better Cardboard on this too. It's like he says, my thoughts on all of this, and I thought high school ended. Oh wait, high school never ends. And that's the thing. People don't want to grow up. People can't grow up. And I give a lot of people credit for not going mudslinging route and all this stuff. I think the responses to all of this have been proper and measured in the way that they should be. I think this cat deserves to have a little bit of jokes slung his way. I worry about his mental health, that's for sure. I worry about, his living situation. Is he under duress? Like, what the hell's going on to be this petty and narcissistic and stupid? That's my viewpoint on it. I can't diagnose anybody, obviously. Because I have no pity for what he's doing. I have no empathy necessarily for what he might be feeling, because I think it's all coming from a place of delusion. But I do recognize this person is a human being, whether we like to say that or not. And something has gotten him to this place, and I think he needs to address that way more than he needs to address people calling him out for breaking the law, copyright law, in essence. So I am, as usual, I am like right here in the center, but my fishing line is just far enough to reach the far edges of extremism on this thing here. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line for me is that we should not have to deal with this crap talking about collecting things. There's no reason for it. None. There's enough room for everyone to say whatever the hell they want to say about whatever frickin' toy collection, CD collection, movie collection, vinyl collection, game collection, whatever. And you should be able to say it. Are you going to occasionally get people that don't like you? Sure. Are you going to get people that don't agree with you? Absolutely. That's normal. But all this back and forth, I hate to use the term, but drama, because there's only one person causing that thing. It's useless. We're all grown men and women and other, presumably, right? This should not be happening. It shouldn't be. And that's how I feel. I see Bill's like, oh, I'm going to come on the panel now. Let's see here. Catch up with you guys. He says, if I come on the panel, I'll be good. You come on the panel where you want, do what you do. It's fine. Johnny Sorden says, isolated collectives, few actual communities. I agree. Bjorn says it's gotten certain groups that normally dislike each other to agree. This whole situation, to a certain degree, I agree. That's a weird thing. Ted says, and it ain't that big a deal to be like, ow, hey, sorry, I didn't credit you, my bad. Yeah, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to just say, oops, that was my mistake. Wifta says the fight goes over the line when copyright report tools are misused and weaponized. I agree, exactly. Of course. Largo chimes in, a few bad actors can sour the overall spirit of what we try to be as a community. I agree. Manic Plastic doesn't even know the story about this, but tend not to get involved. And for your sanity, it's probably the best, frankly. But someone who is acting in bad faith has taken down 2 Instagram accounts of pretty prominent YouTubers, and it's just showing that they'll do it to anyone that badmouths them, and it's pretty bad. And in some cases, accounts that have been there for a very long time are just gone. So it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. Let's see here. I was looking here. Joe Dubeck says, lay it on me, bro. Don't tread on me. Rolando Flores is in the house. JLS is here. Greedo and the Speedo is here. It's here. Coach Ron says, it is delusional. YouTubers get a few thousand subs and think they're celebrities and can get away with shit. They cannot. I agree. Largo says, a community is a word for a group of people that have things in common. So yeah, we're a type of community. That means there are rules and guidelines written and unwritten. And that's where the term community really gets, I think, misapplied to this collective of toy-related people. Because we can't agree on what the rules are, apparently. Manic Plastic says, yeah, but I don't agree with people's accounts being taken down for some crybaby. Correct. Johnny says, it's pathological behavior when they are breaking the law by making false copyright claims. They won't change, but only leaves consequences, and the social platforms are broken and consequence-free. There you go. And Keith is in the house as well. So I'm going to go get my headphones on and tell you guys to start prepping for the panel, because I want to hear what y'all have to say, because we've all been talking about it privately in some form or another. And also, I know you got stuff to say beyond that, so I want people to have a floor just to talk. Like, this show does not exist to really solve any problems. I prefer to bring up a question and have you answer it yourself when we're not watching each other on the TV. I just want to hear what you guys have to think about it. JLS says, I've been referring to it as an ecosystem more than a community here on YouTube. I agree with that completely. That's actually really good. Because I think the word community is misapplied here. When you think about the overall community and how it has all the infighting. Now, I think that there are communities within it, because I do feel that my circle of friends and collaborators and admirers, we have a pretty good sense of community here and can kind of agree on what we do and don't like for the most part. Largo says, just don't be a jabroni. How hard is that? It's not very difficult at all. But, just want to make sure that my audio is on. I believe it is. It is. Okay, good. Perfect. Go ahead and chime in on the panel, but control press just spoke out of my house. All right, no worries, man. We should be up for a little bit here, so hopefully you can make it in. And it looks like we got somebody here already. Got Bill. So I'm going to pull up the panel here and move him in. Bazow, there we go, Bill. You should be able to see me. Hang on. Nope. What's going on with my camera? Bill, can you hear me? I can hear you. Hello, Bill. Bill. Make sure it didn't screw something up here. Oh, well, that doesn't help. Well, now he can hear me.
Hey.
Hey, man. So we should be good. You are on the show.
Am I? All right,
Yes,
hold
sir.
on. I'm checking my mic settings real quick.
You should be good. You should be good.
Well, just because I sound good to you don't mean I am. Okay, well I am. All
Okay.
right. Thank you for letting me come on, Jim. Let me preface this by saying that I do stand with Ryan, and I do not agree with the actions of the party involved. Jim, I don't know if you care if I say his name on your air or not, because all that does is attract his ass. It's
You can
Viper
say
Island.
yeah, you can say anything you want to say.
It's Viper Island. Ryan, while not a close friend of mine, is someone that I know about, and I like to watch his stuff. Okay. Viper Island, on the other hand, is a non-entity to me because I don't watch his stuff and really don't care about him. I'm not a G.I. Joe fan, and I've watched this fold out on the Instagram, and Instagram is where it's really being used hard at, not as bad on YouTube. Apparently, Instagram is owned by a company called Meta, which is owned by a lizard person who has a computerized AI brain. That would be Mark Zuckerberg. And everything over there is computerized, which means that if I choose to go over and look at a picture that Grindhead Jim made in the park of him and his dog, and I say that it's my picture, and I put a copyright strike on it, guess what, Jim? You're copyright struck, dude.
Well, yeah, that's how it works. So Bill,
that's what.
I would like to be very clear on my focus here. I want to know what you feel about the overall thing, and the bottom line is very simple. We all know what happened, and I think we all can agree that it's completely fucking.
Well, there's a few people down there I know in the chat that they're perplexed by all this. Okay, this is the way I feel about it. First of all, if you got a beef with somebody else, it's none of my business. You handle it between you and them. However, when the copyright reporting tools begin to be misused and used as weapons, and then used against anybody that's I'm going to use a military term here, Jim knows what I mean, collateral damage, that's when it becomes wrong. Okay.
Right.
Not only that, I've been around on this man's interwebs in these tubes since probably a little before 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, it was perfectly well known that if you put a picture on the Usenet, anybody can get that thing and they can do anything they want to with it, and there ain't jack you can do about it. And it's almost the same way now. If you choose to publish a picture on the internet, you have to be aware that not only is it going to be cataloged by Google and served to billions of people, any one of those people can right click on it and get it. Oh, yes, you can certainly go in there and fix some kind of JavaScript up so that you can disable the right-click function in a browser. But guess what? All they have to do is click on element, and they can grab where it's located at and get it anyway. And if worse comes to worse, they'll just screenshot it and use it anyway. Now, do I agree with people doing that? I'm not necessarily, but Jim, you've done it and I've done it too. You go on Google, you try to find the best possible picture that you can use in a video, and here's a nice one. It's got a blank background in it, and you grab it and you cut it out and you use it.
Yeah, but we're not talking about something as simple as taking the image and using it for their own purposes by itself. We're talking about breaking news, and they claimed it as their own exclusive from their own exclusive source.
Oh, well, yeah. Viper Island sat there and took somebody's interview and cut the interviewers out and tried to make out like they were doing the interview. This is the same people that put up the entire G.I. Joe movie in its entirety on YouTube just in order to get more subscribers. Yes, they are and
ultimately, it's this particular situation because I'm not here to talk about the overarching, whole picture.
That's not what I'm talking about either, Jim, because see, what really irks me about all this is this guy Viper Island is targeting Laser Pants Ryan and the people who want to stand by Ryan and say I support Ryan. He's targeting them and using the copyright report tools as a weapon in order to do that. This same thing happened earlier this year to Scott Nutlick, and we all hate him. I understand that. I don't hate him. I just dislike him. And then, of course, there's the Junk Man, and everybody hates the Junk Man. I don't really care about Junk Man that much. I do watch him occasionally, and I do have a rapport with him, but I keep that so that he keeps his crosshairs off of me, because he is a freaking troll. And if you feed him, then he comes back to get him a little more dish of food. But if you don't, if you just acknowledge him, hey Darren, how's it going, and you move on about your business and you treat him like, you know, anybody else, he'll go on and find somebody else.
By comparison, someone like Nightlick or Junkman are a nuisance plus at worst at this point. Comparative, because they're not trying to.
Neither one of them will stoop to using the copyright tools as a weapon.
They're not. They've never tried to deplatform anyone. And this guy is doing it now.
Somebody tried to deplatform Scott. Somebody tried to deplatform Scott, and he could have contacted Scott. Now, I know Scott's a butthole, and I know he didn't handle it right either. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is that he went in and he went straight to the copyright report tool instead of even trying to open any kind of dialogue or waiting for a response. Jim, how many emails do you get a day?
Scores of emails.
Okay, so do I, and there's a lot of noise to whatever it's called, ratio in there, a noise to signal ratio. So when somebody sends me an email, it could be 24, 48 hours before I answer that email. You cannot send somebody an email and expect an immediate within an hour response from them, and then say, well, they didn't respond to me, so now I'm going to copyright strike them. No. You got to give them a chance to give you a response, and then give them a chance to go in and do whatever it is that you've asked them to do. Be that, put some sort of attribution into their description, or to blur out the parts of the video that you want blurred out.
And
that takes time too.
In this case, that's not what was done. I'm going to go ahead and check in with chat because they have some good perspective here. So I do want to come back up here. Master Son says that he's lost over 400 subscribers. Last time I saw him, Bjorn confirmed this, was over 600 subscribers.
Yeah.
Says apparently he got a cease and desist from Hasbro to stop selling copyright images on his t-shirt page. And yes, the irony is there. Top shelf, Master Son. It's always good to see you, and it's a good point you bring up. Ted Milich, I'm right here with him. I'd never heard of him until this time, and he's never been more infamous. I'd never even heard of him before that. Which is kind of crazy. Let's see here. Gojatron says this issue at hand is not a YouTube beef. Someone swiped an image, was called out, and then went on a scorched earth campaign against multiple parties. And Gojatron also clarifies a Spectre situation, which was between those two people. It never got outside of that. It didn't become like a here with this person, this, I'm going to target you, and this and that.
Right.
And he just then went and blocking people. He would copyright strike them, then block them. And you know, and it makes claims of things that happened, messages that were sent that weren't sent, and all this other stuff. It's pretty delusional.
Well, the parties involved in the first Jim, neither one of them were likable people. We'll put it that way. Sure. In this case, we've got a likable person and we've got a piece of scum.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get your cat, man. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're all right. Let's see here. Spectre, Rob Zinford Wells was Spectre and Grave was totally different than this. Also, the photographer shared his entire email exchange with Scott, and Scott several times was a jerk because I was past it.
Yeah,
so
we know that.
It's a whole that's the whole thing. And as shitty as that got, it just hasn't gone to this level. That's why a lot of us who've talked about this have made a point. It's like, you know, if you're gonna be a stupid ass jerk, be a stupid ass jerk. But you can be over there, and I can block your page and not look at your page and not have to worry about it, and that's fine. That's how I feel about those first two people that we mentioned. But we talk about Diaper Island. I didn't know who he was before all this, and if all it was you took Laser Pants's exclusive image and used it, you got called out, and he was and then that should be the end of it, basically.
He went and copyright images that were not his images to say they were his copyright. They were just pictures that Laser Pants had put up on Instagram, and he used the Instagram's copyright report tool as he misused it first of all, fraudulently, and used it as a weapon in order to deplatform Laser Pants on the Instagram.
Right. So basically, Knights, what this is that Laser Pants from 3POA podcast, he has a source in China that got him a picture of some prototype heads in the classified line of something we hadn't seen before. So this was a first look leak kind of a situation. Regardless of how you feel about that, he was the first. It was his source. It was the first place it went public. Then Diaper Island basically took the image, reversed it, and put a sepia tone on it, and then claimed it was his exclusive. And then Laser Pants called him out, you know, which one would do. But typically that's all the further that stuff goes. Like, Ryan has a great sense of humor, and he'll talk shit, but it's just shit talking. That's all it is.
Oh, and he made a couple of shit posts too, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I would have done the same thing. But see, those were the posts that did not have any images that this guy could copyright or say that they were his copyright. Right. The picture of somebody with a shirt on that said "Diaper Island sucks" or something. He said that, copyright strike.
Right. He would start striking people for like showing images that have support for Ryan. There's a hashtag out there. We stand with Ryan, or I stand with Ryan.
Pictures of the email that Ryan got saying he was copyright. He was copyright striking those images.
Right, which he has no ownership to. Yeah, so it's just really just completely irresponsible behavior. It's completely insane. And JLS says, as crappy as all this is, let's not lose sight of how the community has rallied behind some good people and showed an outpouring support. I agree. I think that it just shows that when the chips are down, there's more we can agree on than not, and that we can all agree when something is pretty fucking stupid and it should not have happened in the first place. But since it did, you want to make sure that person answers for that. Go ahead, Bill.
The other thing that some of you guys may not know that happened, we had a couple of our friends that are probably right here in the chat right now, Robert's Infinite Realms being one of them. How you doing there, sir? And also it's Chad, who is a stand-up guy in the G.I. Joe community. They did what's known as a reaction video, and it's something that happens a lot on the YouTube. I've done a few of them myself. I'm sure Jim has. It's where you show a video, but you start and stop it every 15 seconds or so, and you commentate upon what's happening in that video. This is called fair use, people. A lot of times the video will be reversed or will be cocked at a side. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that to keep the automated bot from hitting it. But this is all fair use. So would Chad sit there and he cocked his to the side and he made it look like it was sitting inside of a dumpster that was on fire while he was playing it, and he sat there and commentated over it. Robert, on the other hand, he didn't have the ability to do that. He just commentated on the video and had his picture in the corner, if I'm not mistaken, and he would commentate on it. This guy used YouTube's copyright strike tools to copyright strike both of these guys.
Yeah,
that's a wrong thing to do. Now, here's the thing: YouTube washes their hands of the whole thing. Okay, they automatically uphold the copyright against the one doing the striking against the one being struck. It's up to you to hire a lawyer and go to court to make that go away. And what, can I do that? No, I can't. I don't afford a lawyer. I can't do that. So if I were to get copyright struck by this ass wipe, that means that he could potentially cause me a great deal of harm on my channel. So even though I could sit here and I could do the same thing that Robert did, or I could do the same thing that it's Chad did, I'm not going to do that. And I would implore Jim not to either, because this butthole will come and misuse these tools and weaponize them. The bottom line is that YouTube's copyright strike tools and Instagrams are broken. They're not being used right, and the way that they're set up to be used, it's too easy for somebody to come in and misuse them in this fashion. That's why we're so concerned, Knights, is that he's asking, can't be that easy to just nuke an account by saying copyright infringement, we'd all be gone. No, the thing is, someone has to actually. It is that easy to do. It's just a question of someone actually clicking on that link. You know, a bot's not going to click the copyright infringement. Most of us are not buttholes and complete pieces of slime either. It
Yeah,
takes a special kind of effed up person to sit there and immediately copyright strike somebody knowing exactly what's going to happen.
So
And,
we're not.
YouTube
But
will deplatform you after 3.
To continue my point, we're not talking about 1 or 2 pictures getting struck. We're talking about dozens of pictures getting struck that have not even reference him, let alone anything he owns. And he just struck them, and the bots went ahead. Hold your thought. And then the bots went ahead and did their thing, and then Chad and Ryan's original Instagram account are both just gone. They're appealing. They're doing what they can. At least with YouTube, there is a bit more of a process, and you have the right to get past it and this and that. And I think that because of that and the fact that he knows he won't stand up in court, and there's a legal disclaimer you have to sign when you do a YouTube copyright strike, he knows that won't hold up, so that's why he hasn't done that. And I haven't seen any of it. I've seen some pretty inflammatory videos about him go up over the weekend that aren't even fair use. They're just a rant or a comedy skit or whatever. And those are still there. So it's I think YouTube is a lot safer by comparison, at least, for this particular type of attack.
Well, Michael French's video, when Michael French's video went up yesterday, that's when our Viper Island friend over there, and I use that term, sarcastically. That's when his subscriber count started going down. That's when people started saying, "Hey, wait a minute." Now, as far as Instagram goes, what I want you guys to understand that he was doing, not only was he striking these pages, but he was doing it with sock puppets, and he was using his minions. That would be the people who stan with him, if you know what a stan is, an internet term. And he was sending all them over there and having them to make multiple copyright strikes against these pages. Multiple, not just 1, not just 2. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copyright strikes. That's why these 2 stand-up men's pages are gone on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
It's all right. You get excited, and it's okay. And I purposefully have been doing everything I can to relax all day so that I didn't get yelly and screamy and ranty like I knew that I would. So I'm trying to keep calm about this, because I think everything that needed and must be said about this has been said for the most part. I'm just doing what little signal boosting I can do, and I'm just going to say it out there. While I don't want the guy to lose any of his ability to support his family or anything, I don't think he has any business representing himself the way he does on social media in any way, shape, or form. I think it's in bad taste. It's not in the interests of anyone who likes any of these properties. And I hope that what comes of this is that he gets whatever help he needs to realize and become self-aware that how real humans behave. That said, if it takes a public smackdown via all the ways that you could possibly call someone out for poor behavior, if that's what it takes to get there, then I'm all for it. Bring it on. He's brought it on himself.
Well, the only thing that we can do right now is to tell Ryan that we support him. By going on Instagram and posting anything, all you're doing is attracting the attention of the diaper man. By doing a reaction video on YouTube, you're not really adding to anything there either. Now, go to Twitter and at the YouTube team and tell them what's going on. That might help some. But these videos, if you want to find out what's going on, there are 2 videos to watch. 1, Analog Toys. Tony's got a perfect video that will get you up to speed on it. The second video is the interview with Ryan that's done over there on Retro Blasting. That will give you the rest of the story. That's all you need to know. I don't need to make a video about that. I can point you to those 2 videos and tell you those 2 men have done an excellent job of wrapping this up and giving it to you on a silver platter. So you can just
exactly. I would say watch Tony's first, and then watch the Retro Blasting interview with Ryan, because you'll get, here's what happened, here's all the bitter details and how it feels and what's going on and what's happened since. Largo says, we've raised awareness and shown support for the Indian parties. Now what? I think ultimately that's clapping back, yes, but there's certain ways to go about
sit
that.
Back. I said, sit back.
Oh,
sit back and let this work its way out.
Yeah.
We can't do anything at this point except
we can't, but the injured parties,
yes.
I know are doing everything they're able to do within reason, the key word being reason, to combat this and make sure that this doesn't happen again. As far as the signal boosting, this is more about raising awareness that people are doing this, to keep an eye out, whether big or small. If you see it happening, if you know, it's the old adage, you see something, say something, and that's really all this is. This is not a call to arms or action, except vigilance. That's all I say is be vigilant.
Well, I wanted to make this point before I decided to click off of here. Do not go and use this man's tactics against him, because you will become just as wrong as him if you do that. This is not the way we fight this battle. We don't fight this battle by doing the same thing that he did to him. So that's the other thing. I think I made a post over on my team page. You may have seen it, Jim. If you come to me and you tell me, we're going to go, I want to go over here and fight this person on YouTube, and I want you to come with me, and let's go be dicks in his chat, and let's go post nonsense into his comments. I'm going to tell you to go get bent, dude, because I'm not doing that. That's not the way I operate. And I also don't go in and copyright strike people because I don't like them and I want to stand with this person over here that they're going against. All of that's wrong. So two wrongs do not make a right. So don't go in and try to say, okay, well, I hate Diaper Isle and I see what he's done around. Well, I'm going to do it right back to him. That's not going to work, dude. That's only going to hurt you.
So all we can do is support each other and remain vigilant, and hopefully these kinds of things will happen far less often, and certainly not to the level that this is done. To me, this is just a big red flag.
Well, I'm as much as I hate what Diaper Island did to Ryan, I'm more upset about the misuse of the copyright reporting tools than I am anything else, Jim.
Well, that's what he did. That's literally what he did. So that is what it is.
If you've got a beef with a YouTube channel or another person on the internet, don't go and make fraudulent copyright claims against them, knowing that you're going to deplatform them.
There you go. Anything else to add before you hop off?
I'm good, Jim, and I thought I got this out of my system on Friday, but apparently not. You gave me you gave me another forum to reach another audience to tell them not to act like asses on the internet.
There you go.
All right, I'll go watch the rest of the show, Jim. Thanks.
All right, I appreciate you. Bill Whiff to everybody. So the panel is still open. We're still going to be live for a little bit here. So anyone else that has access through YouTube membership or Patreon membership, by all means, hop in, say your piece. You know, anyone who's actually affected, if you're watching, you want the link, just DM me and I will get you the link right away. You have every right to come on the show and voice your opinion as well. But I do want to go ahead and address some comments here. Knights of Old says, intentionally submitting or misleading otherwise fraudulent reports copyright or trademark infringement, mainly the Meta taking action, including termination of your account. Yes, but you have to be able to prove that, and I think that's probably what, if I were in their position, that's how I'd be doing. It's like, this is where this happened. But now the Instagram account that he stole from is gone, you know, that doesn't help what started the whole beef. But then it should be pretty easy to figure out what what actually is fraudulent versus what is not. So pardon me for a moment, kids. I am sending a message real quick to someone who has asked. I'm gonna go ahead and get that out to them so I don't forget, because I will. And then and now I just have this to paste. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So thank you for that, Knights. I'm glad that you're on board with us here. And Johnny's like, don't forget, he stole Hasbro's property by uploading the entire animated G.I. Joe movie. Guess he owns that too. Exactly. And Jeff, he hit a lot of stuff out there for sure. Knights of All also says submitting misleading or fraudulent. All right, so DMCA is the same thing. Yep. And Robert has said it best so far. This guy has literally pissed off everyone. Yes, because it's one thing to have a beef, another thing to try and just shut somebody down. It's not right. And yes, Ted, Tony's video is not safe for work. And I completely agree with Bjorn's echo of Bill saying we don't need to stoop to his sub-level. I agree. JLS also saying keep the high road and don't stoop. I agree. 100%. But Keith coming in. I like this. I want to read this word for word. I'm going to read it slowly so it really sinks in. I think the system of complaints that YouTube and Instagram are utterly fucking inept. I find it especially annoying, given my previous occupation, a total miscarriage of justice based on false allegations. No investigation, just a blanket prosecution. Shameful. I agree. I agree, my friend. I'm always pleased to see you here, and I'm sorry that this is a negative thing that we're talking about today, but I really appreciate your insight. JLS says hiding while you weaponize copyright claims is such a beta move. More like Omega, in my opinion. Largo Slayer says, so if I see a community member purchase a justice jogger, can I call for a community intervention? I'm gonna go with no. No, thank you. Ted Miller says he crossed the line when there wasn't that big of a deal to start with. Ryan was just having a little fun. Fair enough. I agree. And the thing is, if you're going to willfully take someone else's scoop and then claim it as your own, at least acknowledge that you're going to have some sort of backlash and just take it like a man. Take it like a man. And that's just something that this person is clearly currently incapable of doing. Johnny says the only real action, for example, with folks who make a primary income online is legal action and having the formal letter have that to respond to. Yep. JLS says, candidly, I feel bad for the kid. I hope this isn't affecting him too adversely. I know how things like this on social media can get to someone that age easily. To me, I think that he crossed the line of empathy. To me, there's a line of empathy that you have to cross, of compassion. Right, I may understand how he's feeling, but when you cross a certain line where you're willfully doing these things and attacking people, the savageness of the attacks to deplatform and tear down other people's hard work because you cannot own up for the fact that you did something, that crosses my line of compassion. So I don't want anything bad to happen to him in the real world, but I think he deserves everything he's getting in the virtual one right now, unfortunately. Just to follow up with Keith here, we do have a guest I'm going to bring in just a moment. Keith said, don't apologize. I'm right in the right camp here, 100%. I think the guy has behaved disgracefully and criminally. Thank you, and I agree 100%, brother. I do. So, okay. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on to the show my friend, your friend, everybody's friend, Jim Largo from Largo's Lair. How are you, sir?
I'm swell. I'm just waiting for the swelling to go down.
Yeah. Well, with you, I think it will never go down. I'm doing all right, actually. I am glad that this all has taken place over a long couple of days. I get to lead up into the show, as opposed to it all going down, like, say, today. Because my hair would be out here, my face would be red, there'd be smoke coming out. You've seen me pissed off before.
I have.
This ain't it. I am upset about it, but I got to poor Lauren. And if Lauren, baby, if you're still in chat, she just, I was shooting at her with blanks, just like bah, 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 all weekend. I'm like, this motherfucker. I was mad. I was real mad.
Yeah. I did something similar with Catalina, my wife, but because of the cultural difference and she has no clue what we're talking about, it's like, first I have to frame it. It's like, this is what happened. This is the drama mama who started this. This is why it's an issue. This is why I'm pissed off. And then she's like, oh, okay, yeah, the guy's a jerk. Yeah, that translates. That's the same here.
So just to follow up on JLS's comment, he meant Dex, Liam's child. Liam being Viper Island, that we referred to as Diaper Island. So yeah, I hope that his child comes out of this unscathed, and shame on Liam for bringing this kid into it. Shame on you, sir. That's not a good idea.
I'm sure that his son has no clue what kind
I
of
hope it stays that way. I hope it stays that way.
But like I said, we've raised awareness, we've talked about it, we've shown support, and we'll continue to do so. But as a community, and yes, we are, it's a term, it fits. What do we do to either keep these bad actors from kicking the hornet's nest in the future, or coming together as a healthy community so that these kind of things just are a non sequitur, so they don't come up at all? Is that possible? I mean, we deal with trolls, that's a thing, but we usually laugh them off. We don't take it personally, but usually they don't go to these extents like this knucklehead has. That's what really has been the sticking point, is that he's being very petty and using the copyright system unfairly and possibly illegally to just save his ego? I don't know.
Right. And it's like, we've seen this back and forth before. Like that, we've seen a bunch. That's, you talk about Spectre Creative and Junkman and a handful of others. There tends to be a lot of like he said, she said, they said, and then it lasts for like a week, maybe two, and then everyone calms down and it's over. When it bleeds over into this kind of action, it's, and again, all for the sake of your ego, whether it's driven by mental illness or not. Like, there's a certain point where it's like, hey, if it's mentally illness driven, then that person shouldn't be doing the kind of things that this person is doing online. Like, you're just asking for trouble.
You shouldn't put yourself in a public forum and not expect some kind of feedback, whether it's positive or negative or ridicule. That happens. And, it's not like we're talking about, innocent people here. It's like Ryan and the gang at the 3POA can be heavy-handed when they insult things they don't like.
Sure.
They try not to go after people personally, but if a particular product is crap or subpar by a group, call it out. If I buy something and spend $100 on it and it's in pieces when I get it out of the package, then I'm going to say things about whoever made it. But so I've heard a lot of feedback of people saying things like, well, those guys are bullies too, so they're just getting what they deserve. It's like, no, this is apples and oranges, man. It's one thing, farce, satire, making fun of things in the community. That's one thing. This is something different, I think.
I agree.
Or am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I really do feel that way, because again, this isn't, like others have said, this isn't just some beef. This isn't just some, someone calling someone out for what was a bad action. Okay, just, it's no different. If this Duke had arrived and like he was missing stuff and like his crap was bent or whatever, I'd be mad at Hasbro and I'd call him out on social media. Now, if Hasbro turned around and then took my picture of me with my Duke and said that's their copyright, technically they'd be partially right, because I would have a copyrighted material in my hand. But it's a product I own. It would be a really poor faith for them to do that, right?
Right. And that's why there are fair use rules that we try to go by. They're gray areas and they change, but fair use is fair use.
Criticism, exactly. But when we're talking about something where the content in question is either falls under fair use or has no applicable rights to this person at all, like just none. And then they're not just doing one, they're doing a couple dozen, to the point where entire channels on Instagram are being taken down. That's and he's way over the line.
He's
way
done it
over the
much more
line.
blatantly on Instagram
Yeah.
because that system is much more broken and bot
Yes.
controlled. There's not a human interaction going, wait, no. I'm calling shenanigans on this. Fortunately, for what we see for the most part, YouTube has a better system in place. If you make a false claim, there are repercussions, and he's going to get some comeuppance. That's coming. That happens. So.
And I would also like to echo, like, can the humor used by some be harsher than
Yeah.
what would be a baseline? Of course. Can Ryan talk shit with the best of them? You bet. The rest of the 3OP away, oh fuck yeah. And certainly Chad has no filter, really. He has a very caustic sense of humor. To me, it's very funny. But I can see why someone would take that in a negative way. But he's a thoughtful guy, and if you look at everything he says in context, you'll understand it's meant in good fun, even if he's trying to make a specific point of criticism. And the same goes to the 3POA guys.
Right. And as well as I do, anyone who's prior military has a particular sense of humor that sometimes civilians might find a tad harsh. But if you
little bit. I mean, I'll put it this way: if I said, and again, Lauren could back me up on this. If I said on social media, half the stuff I say between the hours of 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. in this house, I would be canceled. Yeah. I might be brought in for like psychological questioning. Like this, it's horrible. I say some horribly dark, stupid crap and laugh hysterically over it. That's how my sense of humor tends to go. It isn't direct. So I say contrast to the person you see on camera most of the time. I try to be very reasonable. I try to see the points of everything. But when the chips are down, I'm going to make some really, really, really morbid jokes when I want to.
Right. And most of us have a filter or try to. And what we'll say in a private chat or with, in a group among friends, we won't say in a public forum or on a YouTube video because it's bad form. Right. Why would we? And it's just, But one of the things I'm trying to get my head around right now, and what this sparked for me was community. What is community? What is this thing that we do? Because
put a pause button on that for 1 second.
Oh, sure.
So I like this thought. Keith says, I've suffered mental health for over 20 years, serious mental health issues. Now I run a support group, but it does piss me off when people behave badly, violently, or criminally, play the mental health card and use an excuse. I can agree with that as well. I would argue this guy might have something that is undiagnosed or untreated and could use the help. Now, whether or not that exists, it does not excuse the behavior whatsoever. An apology still needs to be rendered when they're of sound mind. That's if that's the case, which it's like is possible. On the other hand, the guy might just be that big of a narcissistic piece of fuck. I don't know.
From what I understand from his continuous posts on his social media, he's continuing to act as though he's done nothing wrong. Everybody's against him, and he just doesn't know why. Shucky darn, he's such a swell guy. It's like, no, nobody's buying that. But
no, but with the whole sense of community, like I think we kind of touched on it at the beginning of the show, where it's like I think that more than ever, it shows that there are some lines that the majority of us won't cross, and this is I said this during Retro Blasting stream. I said it in chat, and I said it's a shame that it took something like this for so many of us that normally argue about different points to come together. I wish it didn't happen. It's interesting to see as a social experiment to a certain degree, because when all this is said and done and this person goes away or shapes up, we're going to go back to arguing about our dollies and, but that argument, like that part of it, I've always said, motherfucker, it's plastic. We're fine. Shut up,
And as you know, from doing the playlist with me, when you get somewhere where you find a commonality. Wilhelm and I have had people on the playlist talking about music instead of dollies who like Motu or who like Star Wars or Star Trek or pick a genre. we may not all collect the same things. We may not all appreciate the same things, but we appreciate the spirit of the thing of, hey, you like stuff, we like stuff, and, find common ground. I think most of us do that pretty well, and we'll continue to do so.
I could say that when we say most of us, I can say that that's a good generalized statement for most mature adults, but certainly in the circles that we tend to go in, because, what many people think is one big circle, I think more of it's a gigantic Venn diagram.
Yes.
With toys being the smallest circle in the center. And then you get
subgroups beyond that.
And it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes.
Right. It's like I've got friends who love the big 6-inch classic Fuzzy Head Joes and don't care about Real American Hero, or love Real American Hero, don't care about Classified. But they're all Joe fans. But in certain circles, you can't say that because that's, that's just not how we collect our dollies. It's like,
right. And not to mention, like just on an individual basis, how tastes change. So communities are like this too. But when I met you, if someone had said, "Oh man, in 2-3 years' time, he's going to have a whole wall of 10-inch figures and be back into all this stuff," I'd be like, "No, he's a 1/12 guy for life. Like, there's no way that's ever going to happen." And then that happened, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool." And tastes change, and communities are like water, like that. With Bruce Lee talks about like be like water. He's talking about just flow with the situation. I think large groups of people are like that unintentionally. And depending upon the way the tide is going, that determines how rough the seas can be. And I think that I think there was a lot of vitriol that was going around from like 2020 through 2022, because there was so much to be concerned about as a collector in terms of the act of collecting, how difficult it was, how competitive it was to get things. People were gouging each other, being greedy, trying to get the most money.
FOMO.
And there's still pockets of that now. Like I talk about people like overcharging just because they can. And they're like,
scalpers have always been a problem ever since. Whether it's concert tickets or toys, nobody likes scalpers.
No, definitely not. And while I am on that subject, I want to thank a couple friends of mine. Figuratively speaking, found this mini comic, Manny Faces, and was willing to sell it to me at a very reasonable resale price. He made a small, modest, rational profit, and I didn't pay anything near what eBay was charging. Same for Dr. Head Cleaner, our friend Brandon, who is sometimes in chat, but he's been a friend of mine for a long time. He happened to have a Camo Con, and he sold it to me well below market value. And one of the funny things about that, I'll just real quick story to kind of make the medicine go down, right? When Camo Con was announced 2 years ago, I think it was, and I made this video, why I'm not getting Camo Con. And it was a very clickbaity video, but I wanted to say it because I wanted to talk about Mattel Creations and the directions they were going with variants and how I felt at the time about variants. 17-minute video, why I wasn't going to get that figure. And one of the comments was from Dr. Head Cleaner, who said, "I got two, let me know, just in case." And he happened to list it at the time. I was like, I really want one. Woohoo! Thank you for the renewal, Bill. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. So he commented on that. He listed on his Instagram page a couple weeks ago. And I said, oh man, I really want that. And we worked out a price and he sent it. And then as I'm waiting for it, I'm like, well, I want to see that video that I said about that. And I watched it and I laughed at myself for being naive that I wouldn't loop back around and get it. And then I see his comment and I'm like, pfft. It was destined to be mine from the start. And that's, the whole small world thing. So when we talk about community as a sphere of people, like that's community, right?
Yeah,
that's what
that's
I think
the positive
is.
Aspects. Absolutely. Yes. I think that's something that people need to understand too. There's a difference between being an audience member of a YouTube channel and being part of a larger community. If you go to toy shows, or maybe you can't, like me, where you're in BFE and you can't make it to those kind of things. So you can't have a real world interaction. This is a great way to connect.
Mm-hmm.
But, there are a lot of positive things we do. And I think we should rejoice in the positive, call out the negative, and just kind of keep on trucking.
And that's, generally speaking, as you well know, and I think everyone here probably knows what I try to do whenever I can. But sometimes you just got to say something, because sometimes saying nothing is almost as bad as participating, in my opinion. So it's not even just about this particular instance. It's using this as an example of what could happen, showing support for the people that were affected. These are my friends. I've known Ryan a long time. We barely speak, and only in passing on like social media and stuff, but I got a lot of respect for that guy, and I've got his back, and I hope the same could be said in reverse. Chad and I are closer than we were. I consider him a very good friend. He's a good guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him at the DFW Joe show, and he doesn't deserve any of this crap. He was speaking out to, speaking truth to power, so to speak. I just, at some point you've got to go, enough's enough. So when a group of us said, that's it, no more, at that point you've got to say something. I didn't go out of my way to brand this show anything. I didn't promote it as anything, because my audience is my audience. I want to talk to you guys. I don't need a bunch of people going like, huh? What's going on over here? Is someone else talking shit about Typer Highland?
And I think, by and large, we know by now, after watching your show for a long enough time, most of the guys in the chat, we're pretty level-headed. We don't make drama. We don't start shit, because that's not who we are. We just like to hang out and talk about stuff we like. So
absolutely.
This is an extreme example of somebody who's not right in the head.
Yeah. Like Keith is saying over here, he says that I might be right. Even narcissistic disorder is a mental illness. Can't find pity for someone who deliberately harms others. I agree with that. 100%. 100%. Oh, Mython. Yeah, I'm actually local to the area. I live about 12 minutes from where it's being held. So I'm always here. So
that's a good example too. There's been some drama about Joe Fest versus DFW because of certain things that were done by certain showrunners, yada, yada. Scuba Pete and Wilhelm are going to Joe Fest because they already had plans set up to do so. They're meeting friends there. Ryan and, I don't know if Ryan's making it, but I know Chad and a few other folks we like. And
Chad's definitely going. I heard
going to
tell
DFW.
that Ryan's going. Yeah.
But we're not gonna unfriend each other because we're not going to the same toy convention. No,
it's like I would
what it is.
And I would imagine that most of the conversations surrounding that divide come down to two factors. One, were friends of ours kind of mistreated by certain others at that one event? I would argue yes, but there's the other argument on top of that. The guest list for the DFW Joe show this year, whether there was a problem or not, it's like, that's a tough choice anyway. And
if you're a lover of G.I. Joe, DFW has the guest list. It's like the homecoming of all the big names. So
yeah,
why wouldn't you go?
Kind of a once in a lifetime at this point, or last in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that tip there. I'm sorry the sound didn't come through. I have to mute that because of the thing, but thank you. She says dollies are okay. I agree. It's an okay term for G.I. Joes. Fair enough. Go to Tron says 2 things to remember about Community: opinions can't hurt you, and don't be a dick. I agree. And Salzburg says 100% gyms. It's a gym trifecta right there. It's good.
We're gym squared.
And JLS, I appreciate that comment. He says, I gotta say, I appreciate you. You always have good, thought-provoking topics and perspective to share. Keep up the good work. Nay, no worries. That's what I like to think sets me apart, is that I'm trying to do something beyond like, oh, look, my dollies, or here's this recent thing that pissed me off, because it's too easy. I will tell you, it's very, very difficult to say, okay, here's this limited sphere of subject matter I can talk about. How do I approach it from a new angle this week? It ain't easy.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. And that's why I pad my show with pre-orders. You heard it here first.
And expensive statues. Don't forget those.
And Winnie the Poohs. Expensive
Winnie
Winnie
the
the Poohs. That's right. That's right. Keith says, when an injustice like this happens, we have an obligation, or dare I even say it, a duty to take a side. Duty.
He said duty.
The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I agree with that. And I think that when a line is crossed, you have to cross the line back. You know, to quote one of the most maligned lines in all of Star Trek, this far, no further. You know, but I agree with that. There's a certain point where you have to. Mython says, I really want to attend the Guatemalan Gremlin show. Largo, you're in Guatemala. Is there such a thing as a Gremlin show?
It's kind of becoming a thing. I'm
Are you
making
serious?
a meme. No.
Oh. Okay. Well, if it does end up happening, get a hold of
We have
Billy from the game-
chupacabras.
Yeah, but if they have an actual Guatemalan Gremlin show, get a hold of Billy from the Game Chasers. Gremlins are his favorite thing in the world, bar none. And he would come down there in a heartbeat, and he would show you his pectoral muscles, and it would be glorious. It'd be good.
I will see if I can instigate that.
It's a duty. Okay, so, all right. So I think to wrap things up here, guys, I think we all agree that the actions that have been taken in this instance are wrong. Arguably illegal, definitely in poor taste, and that any action that is being taken should be taken by the individuals who were wronged, and I trust them to take that action. But regardless of whatever actions they do or do not take, we stand by them, we support them, and we remain vigilant to keep others of this ilk from ever accomplishing anything like this ever again. That is the hope.
Well said.
Do you have anything to add, sir?
I love your face.
I love your face.
That's it.
That's it. All right, cool. Bye. I love you, pal. Cheers. So, it's a rough one for me, all of this stuff. It's fucking dumb. It should never have happened. It shouldn't have gotten to this point, but I'm glad that the people that it happened to are not going to take it sitting down. That's my biggest thing. Master Son's also going to be at DFW. That's awesome. I hope to see you. And Bjorn asked if Melville would get his bags. Fuck, no, I don't think so. I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. One other thing I want to mention, kind of bring this back up here a little bit. This Friday is my birthday. Now, I don't have any plans for my birthday right this second. In fact, Lauren and I were talking about that earlier today. She's asked if I want to go out to dinner, and although that sounds nice, I don't know that I'm going to do that. She's asked if I want a certain kind of cake, and I was telling my father-in-law today, I said, look, I'd love to have a couple slices of that cake, but I don't know that with the health journey I'm trying to be on, if I want to have a whole-ass cake in my house, you know. And we don't really have any place where we could donate something like that. That would take a half-eaten cake, for example, right? So I don't know what we're doing yet. We've also talked about having a party over here. That might wait till next week. Traditionally, I have done a birthday stream of some kind. I cannot promise that I will do that, but I might. I just might. But I wanted to bring that up because I know some people have asked about if there's going to be something, so I wanted to say something and be like, hey, might do something. If that's something you guys really, really want me to do, even for only like a half hour or so, I can make that happen, but you need to tell me. So, Rob says, look at those people talking for real and having real exchanges. That's community. There you go. We try. Mython the Python says, what's this skull and crossbones things next to do? This is a metal and plasticine cast ceramic mixture. It's a punk rock drummer, but in the style of like Day of the Dead. It was sent to me by Mr. Largo, who was just on the show. I've had it in my possession for quite a long time, but he hadn't been displayed because of a lack of space. Then the fact that his one arm had broken in transit, and I got some really good super glue and fixed him up. You can barely tell his arm was broken now, and it's really cool. But I keep it there to remind me of him. It's one of those things. So I've got Duke there, and then behind them is like a Spider-Man, which you could probably see, and I got a cartoon Skeletor back there. I just kind of keep stuff randomly there, but this will always be there, and my Bootazilla will always be back there too. Bjorn says, "Party on!" Figuratively speaking, says, "Happy early birthday." Hey man, you already gave me a gift by giving me that great deal on that Manny Faces when I showed off earlier in the show. I love this guy. I haven't opened them yet, but I'm going to. I love the back artwork. I want to scan it and do something with it. But this is so cool, man. Getting me that much closer to retail complete. It's very cool stuff. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I know, it's fun, right? Jim knows how to buy me gifts. He's sent me some really cool stuff over the years. That's one of my favorites. Like, I really cherish that. And to be able to have that on the desk now means a fuckload to me. Oh, yeah. Johnny says, "What day is my birthday? Same week as mine. Eat twice the cake for me." Cool. 24th is this is the date of my birthday. 24th. I'm a Gemini. No. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you. And thank you for that, too. You collect Jolly Roger adjacent stuff? I got you. There's lots of stuff out there for sure. Bjorn will eat cake for me. I would like a slice. Would be nice, you know. Bear 11 Charlie, welcome. Always good to see you, brother. We'll have to watch the replay. It's a roller coaster ride. You'll have fun with it. Awesome. Thank you for the sub. I really appreciate that, man. The more, the merrier. There's a ton of backlog for you to check out. Andy is here, says icing is the best. I'm looking for either a carrot cake or an ice cream cake. Now, if it's carrot cake, I can get a slice of carrot cake pretty easily. Salt says, "Happy birthday." Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Yeah, there are places. But the ice cream cake, that's the thing. Like, I'm really on the fence about that. And Lauren's probably going to beat me down until I get it, because I think she wants it too. You know, I guarantee that beer will be involved and other legal substances. And we'll have a good time, probably laugh like hyenas. That much I can promise, that we're going to have a good time. Like, I'll allow myself a little bit more beer than usual. Just to have a good time for the old birthday, you know, and kind of chill out. For those that are wondering, maybe you weren't, this is my 47th. So this is, you know, the oldest I've ever been. That happens every year, but still. I want some ice cream. I get it. Ice cream cake is amazing, Andy. It's amazing. I love it. And part of my reason for, like, I was like, I don't want you to just go in and get one. I want one to, like, I want something to say something on it, you know. And thank you, Mython. And again, thank you for being part of the show. I really appreciate you. And for those of you who don't know, if you want to be on the panel ever, all you gotta do is click the join button below on YouTube, or go over to Patreon and join there. It can cost you a little bit less. You get the same benefits. It's completely up to you. And we also have monthly hangouts that we do, which we're going to be due for one here in just a couple weeks at the latest. And you get exclusive other stuff and insight and all that kind of fun stuff. So if it's something you're into, cool. If you're looking for a last-minute birthday present for me, that's not a bad one. Consider sticking around for a couple months and hanging out and having some fun. Woman at Cardboard says, to the annoying tune they sing in restaurants, happy, happy, happy birthday, something, something, ooh, happy, something, 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 I don't know the words. I agree. I don't even know the song you're talking about. There's a lot of restaurants that do that, aren't there? Yes, Goji, we've been over this. You're older. But you're aging more gracefully, I would say. All right. Giant Sorson, or join a death metal cult that gets you points toward a membership. Those don't exist. Those really don't exist. So, no. Collect enough grind points to get a stamp on your soul. Yeah, that isn't a thing either. JLS, that might make me Agent 47, except I'm not bald. I mean, I have a slightly receding hairline, but No, I don't have a barcode in the back of my neck, and although I'm a very good shot, I'm not an assassin, but I love the game Hitman very, very much. Very, very much. It's a fun one. What about kaiju? What about kaiju deism? What do you want to know about it? It's religion. I started it. What? All hail Godzilla. What about Godzilla? What about kaiju deism? So anyway, in summation, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being rational people. Thank you for another hour plus of content over this kind of a thing. But I always like to weigh in when it's relevant, right? And I do think it's relevant that we consider our tribalism and we consider what lines we won't cross and what lines we will not allow others to cross. And to remind each other that we are here to support each other in any way that we can. And also to remember that everyone's got a struggle. No matter who it is, they have a struggle that we are not aware of. Unfortunately, some people do things so over the top, proactively heinous that your struggle doesn't matter anymore at that point. There's a certain line. That line's been crossed, buddy boy. So, that said, no matter what happens, no matter what your social media presence is, no matter when your birthday is, or what kind of favorite cake you have, or what toys you collect, or if you call them dollies or not, may all your cards backs be straight. May all your grinds be merry. And may be able to find anything you're looking for at any given time at a price you feel is reasonable. Especially if it's justice. Good night.